Why are mean girls always the it girls? Why are they always those girls? Think of Sharpay Evans from High School Musical. Think of Regina George from the movies Mean Girls. Those girls are always seen to be like the girls everyone wants to be, the it girls, but we also see how they're mean girls. So why does everyone love them is the big question, and that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. So first, one of the most common things that everyone knows about a mean girl, whether they realize it or not, is that they are confident. If you think about it, think about the things that they wear, think about how they talk, think about how they present themselves. They're always confident individuals. You can take a screenshot of a movie of a mean girl and a regular girl walking down a hallway, and you always know who the mean girl is, because she always resonates this sense of confidence. She always resonates this sense of being put together, so much so that sometimes she makes other characters in the movie feel less confident if they are not meeting her standard or up to her subpar. Now, this can come from a multitude of things. Maybe it's the individual comes from a rich background, maybe it's just the upbringing, whatever it is, but they always radiate a sense of confidence. And the reason why I wanted to talk about it being more sometimes than just money is because I've seen it happen in different movies, and I think sometimes people always think, oh, someone with money must be a mean girl, but it's not necessarily money. It's just a confidence that they have about themselves, and I personally feel like that's something that you can't buy, no matter what class you come from, no matter what financial background you come from. That level of confidence that they have about themselves is something that you can't replicate, but I feel like every mean girl in every movie has it. Like, you just know that from that outfit to the way she talked, it's just confidence. It literally oozes out of her, and that's one of the first things that I think everyone always notices. Now, number two, another thing is a hyper feminism. I don't know about y'all, but watching these movies and these TV shows sometimes is a little, not cringe, but it just doesn't seem realistic. Like the hyper feminism of they're always wearing the color pink. They always know how to articulate themselves in a way that they seem flirtatious, and they're soft yet confident. Like, think about when the mean girl talks to one of the other girls in the movie and she's like, yeah, so next time don't do so-and-so. And then her football boyfriend comes up to her and is like, babe, I have a question. Yes, do you need any, like, you get what I'm saying? There's always that kind of transfer of energy. Like, when she's around other women, she has this feminine energy around her, but when she's around men, she has this sense of feminine energy around her as well. She always does give off this sense of just being so woman-like, just so. You think of bows, you think of the color pink, you think of the color red, you think of just everything that embodies a woman. Stereotypically, you think of soft, right? I always thought about that when it comes to these movies. Like, these women are always the hyper feminine, like feminism that comes through, even in the way that they look, right? And one thing I would like to also note on, when it also goes back to the confidence that I do enjoy about mean girls in movies, is that that character may not be the quote unquote cutest character in the movie, right? So they might deem another character as being prettier or whatever, but you can't tell that person in that movie that no one is prettier than her. Like, you can tell literally just by seeing that character. She knows, not she thinks, she knows she is the most beautiful person at that school. She's the most prettiest person at that office. Like, she has that sense of confidence about her. And that goes back into saying, like, something that people can't buy. But then also, I can say in a lot of movies and stuff that we watch, they do always try to make them seem like the prettiest type of epitome type of individual. Now, one thing I think people don't notice about it girls, mean girls in these movies are that they are smart. They just pick and choose when to use their wisdom. So a lot of times you think of these mean girls, they're like individuals who people might categorize as, oh, she's a manipulator, or oh, she takes advantage of people, or oh, she's this, or oh, she's that. But people don't understand that it takes a certain level of intellect to like manipulate individuals and get people to do stuff that you want. And like, one thing I don't think people give them enough credit for is how smart they are. Like, these are very intelligent women. It's just because they don't use it for books and math, and you get what I'm saying, and those kind of intellectual things we think of, that they don't give them the credit of being smart. But I feel like one thing about mean girls, they're always smart. They're very calculated individuals too. Like, think about it in the movies you watch. I feel like this happens in almost every movie or TV show, like a teen fling or something. the girl who's like the nice new girl, she talks to the girl's jock boyfriend on accident, not knowing that everyone in the school knows not to talk to him. And then the girlfriend, which is the mean girl, pulls out this elaborate scheme to embarrass the girl, or this elaborate scheme to make a joke out of her, or whatever. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that that's good or okay, but at the same time, people need to give them credit for how smart they are. I think the difference is they just choose to use it for different things that reward them with different things in life. And another thing that kind of goes into the idea of not using it necessarily for books, like them being smart, is them also understanding power. And I think sometimes people think of Mean Girls as to be manipulators or different things that I stated before, because sometimes they are in movies, but I think it's also they have a higher understanding of how to use power. I feel like we all have to come to an understanding that women do have a certain level of privilege, whether you want to realize it or not. I know for me growing up, right, when I used to have like the little teen parties and stuff, they used to be $5 for girls, $10 for guys. I know sometimes where I go out with my friends or something like that, if there's like a party or an event and there's not that much space left for people, they're more likely to let girls in than they are to guys. Now, I'm not saying, oh my gosh, it's this big thing, and we have our faults too. You know, it's a scary world out here. But I say that to say they use the privilege of being a woman to their advantage because they understand power. And I feel like that's something that they don't get enough credit for either, is because I think sometimes people have this idea that, oh, we all should just be nice to each other, and we all should just be this, and we all should be that. And to a certain extent, I do agree, but I honestly can't understand why mean girls do what they do, because sometimes people may look at it as, oh, she's a mean girl, she's just dating that guy so she can get more popularity, or she's a mean girl, she's just doing this so she could get that. But at the same time, I feel like people don't also think about the people that are using them. Like, if she's in a movie and she's only dating that guy because she knows it'll look good for her, you think that guy is dating her because he's trying to do community service? No, he wants the same benefits. And I feel like that's one thing that Mean Girls understand, is the mutual benefit of things. And I feel like people look at that as mean, but it's like, is it necessarily mean, or do they just understand their power? They understand if they dress a certain way and they talk a certain way, they'll get treated a certain way. So if they like that treatment, they do things that fall in line with that treatment. And I don't think it's necessarily always manipulation or all these other things. I feel like it's just understanding power and how it works in this thing called life. And when it comes to our idea of like, what is a mean girl, what constitutes an individual to be a mean girl, I feel like it really comes from the media, which is a double-edged sword about it. I feel like the media is a great place, you know, movies, TV shows, it shows us different kind of archetypes, it shows us different kinds of individuals, personalities, different things like that. But I feel like the fault is sometimes it causes us to put individuals in a box that don't necessarily have those kind of characteristics, right? So I feel like one thing that I don't necessarily agree with is that confident women are often seen as mean girls. Like, I think, and it comes from the media, right? So a lot of times women who are confident, a lot of times I see, you know, even on TikTok or something like that, I'll scroll my For You page and I'll see a girl who just loves pink and she just loves everything girly or whatever. And people just make comments about her looking mean or being this a certain kind of way. And it's like, this girl literally did nothing that would make you think that. Like, this girl literally, you get what I'm saying? But if it's an individual who doesn't seem as confident or doesn't seem like that, or they're not that out there with themselves, they're seen as not being mean girls. And I feel like sometimes it's a sense of a competition. I feel like sometimes it's like they look at confident women as a competition. So I'm going to classify you as something that individuals wouldn't want to be around. And individuals don't want to be around mean girls. So I don't know. That's the only thing I don't really like about sometimes how it's portrayed in the media, is because they're always hyper feminine, which shows if you're too overly feminine, right? If you worry too much about your hair and your nails and your appearance, then that necessarily means that you must be a mean girl. You only care about yourself. Like, I feel like well put together women who have a certain confidence about themselves and a certain aura about themselves are constituted as mean girls because of the media. And it's always a she seems like this kind of person, she seems like that kind of person. And where did you get that thought from? It comes from the media. And then I feel like it also sometimes causes individuals to fall in line with being a certain kind of individual or being a mean girl because of how they look, because of the confidence that they have. have. And I feel like it comes from sometimes people treating them like a mean girl because of how they look, or them just feeling like since they like certain things that mean girls like, since they carry themselves how mean girls carry themselves, whatever that means, they must be a mean girl. So I feel like sometimes people do fall into line with that, and it's like, you're not a mean girl, you're actually a really nice girl, or you actually were a really nice girl until you felt like you had to be like this because of how you looked and how you express yourself. And the final thing I just want to have us ask ourselves, are they actually mean girls, or do they just know how to use their privilege? Like I mentioned earlier, mean girls are individuals who understand how to use the power, the use of power. They are very articulate individuals a lot of times. They're very calculated individuals in the way that they do things. And I feel like it kind of sparks the idea of like, why do we consider that to be mean? Like, I feel like it constitutes that if a woman is going after something, if a woman is driven, if a woman does anything that's considered necessarily masculine, then she must be a mean girl. And so a lot of these women, don't get me wrong, in the movies that I talked about, they do mean things. But then, like I said before, is it because, well, they're first and foremost, they're movies, but then like I said, sometimes people just fall in line with how people treat them or what people expect from them. Like, you will be surprised how often you do that, and just in life, contrary to, we like to think, oh, I thought of this myself, and I think of this and I think of that, but then sometimes you don't realize, due to how you look, due to your personality, due to so many things, like that's what kind of molded you into the individual you are. So I don't know, it kind of made me think, like, after hearing a lot of those characteristics, which I think a lot of people can use, right? A certain level of confidence, a certain level of, not like that, but like that, knowing how to use your privilege, a certain level of, I don't think it's necessarily you need hyper feminism, but I think sometimes girls are too afraid to be girly because they don't want to be seen like that. And I don't know, I think there's just a certain level of I don't give a fuck that you have to really have, and I think mean girls have, and I think that's what makes them the it girls, like the girls that you want to be, the girls that always seem to do no wrong, the girls because they really understand themselves, so much so to, it's, even if you think about it when it comes to like fashion and stuff, think about someone who wears an outfit and you're like, I could never wear that outfit, that would look crazy to me, but like there's someone who wears outfits and they just wear stuff that you would never wear, but it always looks good on them. I remember I went to school with this one girl and she was like that. It just felt like everything she wore just fit her. Everything she wore, like, she wore it did not wear her. And I never forget, in high school we had like a mixed match day or a wacky day or something like that, and it was me, her, and another friend, and our other friend made a comment like, even on matching or mixed match day you still look so put together, or something like that, like you still look good. And she did. Like, I was thinking the same thing, like, even though everybody else looks crazy, but it's some way and she was going with the vibe, like the mixed match, but it just fit. And I don't know, but it's sometimes like those girls or those individuals, but I feel like there's a certain level of knowing themselves. There's a certain level of understanding themselves that they have, that I feel like due to social media and due to a lot of things we lack, even myself, like, we're not gonna go into that. But long story short, I realized I can't keep up with the BBL fashion no more. Like, I need it. You know, you order something online and it don't look the same way it looked on a model that it look on you, and then sometimes you just gotta look at the model and be like, she don't even look like me, so how did I expect this to look? That's all I'm saying. Anyways, I personally feel like there's certain things that we can learn from Mean Girls. I feel like there are certain benefits that Mean Girls have to this thing called life that we all can benefit from. But I feel like all in all, Mean Girls are just individuals who really understand themselves. They understand the use of power. Yes, some may misuse it, but at the same time, I don't feel like mean girls or those kind of girls should be completely written off, because there are certain things we can learn from them. As we see it now, like the it girls on social media, like if you really think about it, those are just girls who do what they want to do. They don't care what people think. They're innovative. They are themselves. So I feel like that's what we can learn from Mean Girls, how to be ourselves. And that's why the Mean Girls are always the it girls, because they're literally the model. They literally don't care what people say, don't care what people think. They're going to be the, like, I think sometimes they embody what people wish they can be. But I feel like if you learned how to embody that for yourself, like the person you want to be, the life you want to live, the how you want to dress on your level, you know what I'm saying? Like, we all can't be millionaires, billionaires, but on your level, I feel like you will have a certain level of confidence about yourself that a lot of these mean girls have, or it girls. So I don't know, that's just my opinion. But comment below, tell me guys if y'all like the video, and what are some of y'all favorite movie mean girls? I feel like we all kind of have some mean girls that we liked in movies, so what are some of y'all favorite mean girls? And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Have a great one.